Welcome to Lost Girl Therapy. This is part 2 of things I did to help my POTS symptoms, and this is just random things that I forgot to include in the first video. So first off, when I was doing physical therapy for nervous system reconditioning and I was doing nerve glides, I got an acupressure mat, and it was really helpful to help me come out of fight or flight, especially after I had done activities that really challenged my system. I would do it 15 to 20 minutes at the end of the day, or like right before I went to bed. And I noticed a really big difference in my body just kind of like decompressing to the point where I felt relatively calm, or calmer than I would be throughout the day. The next thing that I did was I do salt in my water. I use LMNT, the non-flavored one. I know that there's stuff going around about it, but for me, it was very helpful in helping me maintain hydration. It also has really drastically changed my blood pressure throughout the day. I notice a difference if I do not have it. If I don't have LMNT on hand, I will use just normal salt. So I'll put sea salt in my water or anything like that. Next, when things were really bad, I would eat every 2 hours because I never wanted my blood sugar to drop. And I noticed, especially when I started getting intense dysautonomia symptoms, that my blood sugar would drop like that. And it is like a wave of symptoms. Like I would get nauseous, I'd get dizzy, I'd be unsteady on my feet. So I was very mindful of eating every 2 hours and staying hydrated. Even if that meant that I was carrying snacks in my bag or splitting up my lunch into multiple divisions, I would come back to it. And that really was important to maintain stasis in my body, just any sense of stability, because I never wanted to get my body to a state where it was challenging. Now, over the last few months, I've noticed that I can go longer. So I can go between instead of every 2 hours, I eat every 3 hours. There have been days where I can have 3 meals and not need to eat every few hours. Those are rare, but they have started happening again. And I take that as a positive sign, because previously when I would get a hunger cue, it would be, if I do not eat right now, I'm going to faint. And now it's oh, I'm hungry. It's not that really high escalation anymore. I have recently started doing acupuncture again. And like I said earlier, I could not do acupuncture when I initially got diagnosed with POTS because my nervous system was way too heightened. I've now been able to go back to acupuncture, and I do notice a difference. It certainly activates the nervous system because it's moving energy through, it's trying to clear things out. So you just have to be mindful that if you are somebody who has an overactive nervous system, or if you're in the throes of a POTS episode, acupuncture might not be that helpful, especially because the recovery time can be significant. For me, it takes about a day to bounce back, whereas when I would get it years ago when I was healthy, I just felt great all the time. Now I notice that I'm a little sluggish with kind of regaining my energy. However, I feel amazing in the days afterwards. So it's worth it for me, for those few hours of being a little low, to then feel incredible in all the days afterwards. The next thing that I did, which truly was probably the most important thing I did, was I started working with a core energetics practitioner. In one of my other videos, I also discussed somatic therapy. For me, I just found a core energetics practitioner, but I would say that somatic therapists would be incredible with this type of work. Processing trauma and allowing your physical body to release and move through things not in talk therapy can be incredibly helpful when you're trying to free up space in your nervous system to heal. And I'm a therapist. I believe in talk therapy. I love talk therapy. But in my case, there were certain things that I needed to process on a physical level that I just could not access in talk therapy because I just couldn't get to that space. And finding a practitioner who was trained in helping me reacquaint my body with safety, helping reacquaint my mind with what feels calm versus when I'm dissociating, has been probably the most significant game changer in me being able to live a much fuller, healthier life than I previously ever would have been able to in the last 4 years. I notice that I'm less fearful when I operate throughout my day to day. I feel much more comfortable outside. I also have a very reduced reaction to sensation change. When I first had POTS, like if the temperature changed or if a sound came on or if there was a random noise, I would go into fight or flight immediately. There is no in between. And now I've noticed that with the core energetics practitioner that I'm working with, I'm literally rebuilding that middle ground.